Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love. So as you guys heard, AJ wrote a beautiful arrangement on a beautiful tune, and I've been playing it for the last couple days, and it's a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be best suited for the beginner intermediate player. So someone just jumping into that intermediate category. Now, if you're not familiar with what defines a beginner player or an intermediate player or an advanced player, then click this link to find out. But this is going to be a great tune for really working on how you're playing. So a lot of times we're so focused on getting the right notes, the right chords, playing everything as written, but we're not thinking so much about how we're playing the music. So that's going to be a big takeaway of this lesson. We're going to talk about that in a second, but before we get there, let's talk a little bit about the lesson first. So in this lesson, we're going to learn the entire tune. And if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for Can't Help Falling in Love. Also on that page, you'll be able to find the on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a really great asset for learning this song so much easier. Alright guys, so let's jump into learning this tune. A couple of things we're going to talk about. First off, this is a song that requires a low G. So it's just not going to sound right with a high G, so definitely pull out the low G for this one. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is what I alluded to in the intro, and that's how we are playing the music. So as you go through this tune with me, you're going to see that it's quite simple from a finger picking standpoint. A lot of basic chords we learn as a beginner, so all these shapes that we have played a million times. But the key thing here is how we are playing this. So think of the song. This is a love song, and we want our playing to get that vibe across. So we don't want to approach this piece with doing anything that would be like playing with a lot of right? We don't want to be plucking super hard, strumming super hard. We want it to be nice, subtle, soft, sweet in that love style, right? So think about that as you're playing this tune, as you're learning it. Right, so a nice soft approach. So if you take a G chord, strum soft, and just pluck down it nice and delicately, and you get a sweet, beautiful tone. Now, if this is a new concept for you and you want to go a little bit further into studying it, then check out this lesson, which I actually worked with one of our members on rockclass101.com, Marisa, and she was struggling with a tune and wondering why it just didn't sound right. And the thing was that she was so focused on reading the music, the sheet music, and playing that she wasn't thinking about how she was playing. So a really cool article there. I'll put it in the description box too. It's called Why Copying is a Good Thing. So if you want to dive deeper into this concept, then check that lesson out. Now the next thing I want to talk about is our right hand finger picking approach. So this is actually a really great song for a 4-finger approach because it pretty much picks across all 4 strings. So with a 4-finger approach, each finger gets its own string. You could also use a 3-finger approach where thumb would get string 4 and 3, index finger gets string 2, middle finger gets string 1. If you're new to using a 4 or a 3-finger approach or even a thumb approach, then check out our finger picking concepts course. I'll put a link in the description box below. It has exercises for all 3 finger picking approaches. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is one really cool playing style, or I guess you could call it stylistic approach. Let me break it down and show you. Actually, let's do this. Watch how AJ does his right hand technique on these first couple chords. So I'm going to play the very beginning of this video and I want you to watch his right hand. What you're going to be watching for is a really cool way that he arpeggiates the chord. So take a look at this, keep an eye on the right hand, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So pretty cool technique, right? So in a nutshell, all AJ is doing is arpeggiating one string after the next, just going in straight order, 4, 3, 2, 1. But the trick is to go in rapid succession, so da 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 da. So this technique provides a really creative way to substitute a normal chord strum. So a lot of times we may approach playing the first part of this tune or all the chord hits in this tune with just a simple chord strum. You can get a different timbre out of that chord if you use this arpeggiated approach. So if you're new to this technique and you want to learn it, we actually broke it down in great detail in a recent lesson, Finger Picking Etude number 21. I'll put a link in the description box below to check it out. Really, really cool. A fun technique to add to your repertoire of techniques. So something that you can try out throughout this tune. Now, if you don't want to try it out, you can of course do a basic strum, and that sounds equally awesome, just in a different vein. They're different colors, you know, like blue looks awesome, red looks awesome, but blue is not red and red is not blue, right? Same thing with this. The arpeggiated strum is not the same as a regular strum. So pick and choose whichever one you like the most. But let's go ahead and kick into this lesson, and we're going to kick off with verse number 1. And verse 1 is 8 bars in length, and the difference between the first verse and the other 3 verses in this tune is that it is a lot more sparse, so kind of a simplified verse. So let me play the first 2 bars and then we'll break it down and learn it. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, so let's tackle just that part. So it's going to kick off with a partial bar. So partial bar means that we're not barring across all 4 strings, or yes, all 4 strings. I was thinking frets. We're not barring across all 4 strings. With a partial bar, we're only going to bar across 2 strings. So lay that index finger flat on the 3rd fret, strings 1 and 2. Middle goes on the 4th fret of string 3, and ring finger goes on the 5th fret of string 4. So our first chord is C, so we can strum down for this. If you want to try the little arpeggiated strum, you can do that as well. But we're going to strum down, we're going to hold it for 2 beats, and then we're going to take the exact same shape and we're going to move it all the way up to 12, 11, flat on 10. So when we move it up, it becomes a G chord. Now, if you're new to taking these chord shapes and moving them up the neck until they become other chords, then check out the caged method. It's a really cool method that guitar players use a lot that shows you how to break away from playing chords only in the beginning of the neck. And one of the things, or one of the benefits that comes from that, let me give you an example. Say you're at a jam and everyone's playing a C chord. Well, you can play the G chord shape of a C, which is actually in this tune, but moved up the neck. And while everyone's playing the C here, you can create a nice harmony and add color to the music by playing it up higher instead of copying everyone else. So that's one benefit that comes from the caged method. But again, jumping back into the tune, so we start with the C, so 5, 4, flat on 3, up to 12, 11, flat on 10. So they're both half notes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's try that together. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Going into our next bar, bar 2, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so we have a variation on A minor. It's going to be the middle finger on the 2nd fret of string 4, and then our pinky will be on the 3rd fret of string 1. So you're going to strum all 4. Again, we're going to hold it for a half note. So we have 1, 2. On beat 3, we're going to lift the middle up, play the open G, and then you can take that middle finger and you can drop it straight down. So just move down a string, and you're on the 2nd fret of string 3. Play that note, and then the open E. So together you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Okay, let's give that one a shot, you and I. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Nice. So let's try bars 1 into 2. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So as you notice, we're counting rhythms as we go through this. So if you're new to understanding rhythmic notation, I'll put a link in the description box to an introductory lesson on counting some of these simple rhythms, quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes, whole notes, that kind of stuff. But honestly, if you really want to get a good handle on how rhythm and timing connect, then there's no better way than by learning to read standard notation. So we actually have a course that teaches you how to do so. And again, I'll put a link for that in the description box below, but I can't tell you enough that really is the best way to get a good grasp on timing. Now, speaking of timing, this is actually a really interesting thing with this tune. This is a song that we can use a little bit of rubato. So rubato means that we don't have to strictly adhere to the tempo, right? So let me give you an example. If I sing this tune, just the melody out, but I stay perfectly in time, sounds a little bit like this. Dum, ba, dum, ba, da, dum, bum, bum. Right, so it's very like rigid, it's very robot, right? It's just, it's just so like on the beat. But when you think of this song, think about all the times you've heard it performed. Think about how AJ performed it. It's really a song that can be a little bit loose. So for example, la da dum, da 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 dum. Right, so that time, maybe slow down a little bit towards the end of it. I didn't hit everything exactly on. And what happens is that it comes across a little bit more natural. So don't feel like you have to play this entire song where it's literally just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and where you have to be so on the beat. It's okay to be a little bit loose and just let it flow. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So take that and keep that in mind as you're working through it. All right, so going back into this, let's take a listen to bar 3 and 4, and then we'll break it down. Okay, so let's tackle that. So we have an F chord, just our stock basic F. Difference here is that we're going to either do the little arpeggiated pluck up to string 2, or you can strum to string 2. So you want to strum 4 to 2. After that, we're just going to pick our way down. So we have string 4, string 3, string 2. So we have 1 and 2 and. After that, lift up. Easy chord, all opens, so we're going to follow the same as the previous, so strum 4 to 2. This time hold it for a quarter and then hit the open G. So we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So let me try again a little cleaner. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Nice, so pretty easy bar. Let's give it a shot. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, our next bar is a G. So think of this chord as subbing out the higher B for the lower B. So what you're going to do to finger it is just take that ring finger, put it on the 4th fret of string 4, and then index goes on the 2nd fret and middle finger goes on the 3rd fret, just like a normal G. And this time around, we're just going to ignore string 1. So we don't have to do a partial bar or anything. We can be on the fingertip, so we don't have to worry at all about string 1. So this bar is going to sound like. Okay, so very simple, again, rhythmically wise. 1 and 2 and 3. So get that chord intact, and what you're going to do is pluck string 4 and 3. Then string 4, then string 2, string 4, and back to 3. So we have pluck, 4, 2, 4, 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so that last one is a half. So let's try that bar together. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3. Nice. If we backtrack 3 into 4, here we go. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Awesome. So if I'm going a little bit too fast, you can use these directions to slow the YouTube player down. But remember, premium members do get access to that on-screen tab viewer, so that interactive tab player, and you can set the speed to whatever you need. So if you're at like 67%, you can set it to 67. Really, really cool. All right, let's backtrack the first 4 bars. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Nice. So going into our 5th bar, it goes back to an F, and then we're going to go to a basic G. So here's what it sounds like. So just bar 5. Okay, so let's tackle that. So all eighths. So start with the F. You're going to strum all 4. Then just play string 4, string 2, string 1. Then go to G. You're going to strum, play string 4, string 3, then string 1. So we have strum 4, 2, 1, strum 4, 3, 1. Now with this, you can be really loose, okay? So this bar, you can play any kind of arpeggiation of the chord that you want. So if you want to go strum 3, 2, 1, strum 3, 2, 1, you could do that as well. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is that melody note, which falls on beat 1 and 3, is there. So you can kind of mix and match and create your own little picking thing. But let's give that one a shot. So we have strum 4, 2, 1, strum 4, 3, 1. So that's what I've got for you guys. Let's give it a shot. 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Let's go ahead and look at the next bar. So bar number 6 sounds like this. So this one has probably the hardest part of the tune, which is a full-on bar chord. But it starts off pretty easy. So we're back to that A minor that we did earlier. So we're going to strum, then hit string 4, and then pluck 1 and 2. So we have strum 4, pluck. So 1 and 2. After this, lay flat completely on the 5th fret, strings 1 through 4. This is a D minor 7. Here's what's tricky is this rhythm. You can take a look. I've got the rhythm hits up top. 3 and a 4 and. So we have a 16th note thrown in there. 3 and a 4 and. 3 and a 4 and. Okay, so it's a little tricky because we have this fast burst in the middle. Okay, what's happening with the right hand is we're going to go strum, then hit string 4. At this point, take the ring, put it on the 7th fret of string 1, pluck string 1 and 2, and then back to string 4, and then put the pinky on the 8th fret of string 1, pluck 1 and 2. So you have strum 4, pluck. Okay, so that melody walks up, da, da, da. Okay, so think of the melody note. The rest is just adding harmony, so just embellishing it and making it sound a little bit more filled. So again, think of the rhythm. So you have 3 and a 4 and then you can also call out the hits. Strum 4, pluck. Okay, so that works really well. So try both and then put it onto the instrument. Okay, let's give it a shot though, just that second half. So 1, 2, strum 4, pluck. Okay, if we try that entire 6 bar together, here we go. 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and a 4 and. Okay, so probably the one that you want to practice the most, a little bit tricky. But backtrack, let's try 5 into 6. So here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and... Nice. So let's take a look at what the next couple bars sound like. Very pretty walk down. So we talked earlier about the cage method, taking these basic chords, moving them up higher on the neck, and that's the case with this first chord. So take the basic G, move it up to 7, 8, 7, and we're going to strum all 4, so the G string will be open. So I want you to strum all 4 and then play string 4, string 2, string 1. So all eighths, 1 and 2, and from here we can lift the index finger up, lift the middle finger up, take the ring, move it down a half step to the 7th fret. Put the index on the 5th fret of string 1. And you can pluck those 2 and then hit string 4 open, and then hit string 2, and then string 1. So we're playing out of a G chord right here. But we're going to make it a little bit easier and just do 2 fingers. Okay, so watch this transition. So we have this higher voice of C. And then I'm going to lift up, move down a half step, put index finger down on the 5th fret of string 1, pluck 1 and 2, and then open G, string 2, string 1. So together, strum, 4, 2, 1, pluck, 4, 2, 1. Okay, let's give it a shot. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... From here, just move the index down to basic C. You're going to strum and then 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So let's try 7 into 8. Here we go. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and strum 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Okay, so backtrack, let's try 5 to 8, and then we're going to go 1 to 8. Here we go, 5 to 8. Ready, slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Done. Okay, now 1 through 8. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 4. 1 and 2 and 3. 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 4. Nice. So again, think about how you're playing it. So you want a nice soft touch, and I wouldn't play it like perfectly in time, kind of, because it sounds just very rigid. So go back and listen to AJ's performance, and just go ahead and try to tap along to him, and you'll see like sometimes he'll slow down, or maybe he'll do like a slight little fermata on a note, and what ends up happening is that his performance just sounds super duper natural. So steal ideas from that and then come up with your own. You know, you can take ideas from his performance. There's a million performances of this tune online, from, you know, famous artists to normal folks like us, and you can kind of mix and match ideas from different people and then mix it up in a little hat and come up with your own style. So that's a cool little idea that you can do. But anyways, let's move on to our next verse. So verse 2 and 3, they are identical. So let's break down what's happening here. It's going to be 8 bars again. It follows the exact same chords and progression that almost the exact same chords. It doesn't do this octave higher jump kind of stuff in the beginning, but it's going to be pretty much the same chords that we played out of. The big difference here is that it's more filled, so we don't have any kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have so much sparseness. And when you listen to the first 2 bars, you'll hear that difference. So let me play the first 2 for you. So you can hear there's just a lot more. Pretty much all eighth notes throughout. There's 1/16 sprinkled in that second bar, but we'll talk about that in a second. So let me actually call this as the bar written on the tablature. So this is bar number 9. So let's break down 9 first. So our first chord starts with just all opens. So we're back to strumming 4 to 2. So just strum opens 4 to 2, and then walk your way down 4, 3, 2. So strum 4, 3, 2. Then we're back to that G with the B and the bass. So make that chord shape, and we're going to follow the exact same. So strum 4 to 2, and then 4, 3, 2. Now if you want a little variation in the attack, you could pluck 3 and 2 and then go 4, 3, 2. So that would sound like this. Okay? Or if you want to keep it consistent, strum, strum. Up to you. But let's try it together. Here we go. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Awesome. Next bar sounds like this. Okay, so we're going to start with an A minor, and we're going to go 4 to 2, so same as before, and then 4, 3, 2. What do you know? Same as before, right? So same pattern, strum 4, 3, 2. Now at this point, lift the middle finger up, play the open G, and then you're going to have a 16th note fill right here. So string 3 and 2, but played faster, right? So in the context, 1 and 2 and 3 and Okay, after that, put the middle on the 2nd fret of string 3, and then play the open E. So together we have strum 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. So watch out for that 16th and the second half of beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, let's give that one a shot. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Awesome. Backtrack 1 into 2. Here we go. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so going into our 11th bar, it's F to C, and it's going to sound like this. So very similar to the first verse. It actually starts the same. So you had F strum 4 to 2, 4, 3, 2, then to the C's, which was opens, so 4 to 2. Then we're going to hit an open G, and then string 3, fret 2, and then an open C. So we're keeping it all 8th notes. So strum 4, 3, 2, strum 4, 2, open. Okay, so let's see if we can try that one together. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Nice. Now the next bar, bar 12, actually is the same as the first verse. So playing out of the G with the B and the bass. So again, that was pluck 4, 2, 4, 3. So identical. So since we know that, let's backtrack. Let's try 11 into 12. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Awesome. Now let's go 9 through 12. Here we go. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and Here's the cool thing, guys. This next part is actually identical to the first verse. So it goes back to F, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So everything's identical. He does play this little slightly, he changes one note there, but we already talked about how you can pretty much play, any combination as long as you hit F and G on beat 1 and 3. So that's not a big factor at all. So we're going to skip over the little tiny variation note. But let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can go bars 9 through 16, since we already know the second half of this. So here we go. The entire verse 2 and verse 3. Ready, slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Awesome. So very easy to get down, since we did all the bulk of the learning for the most part in the first verse. So after this, you're into the bridge, and the bridge is actually going to be 5 bars in length. It's kind of odd, but the first 3 bars are identical. So once you learn the first bar, you just repeat it for the second and then for the third. So this is measure 17, and let me play that. Keep in mind it goes 3 times in a row. Okay, so I just played it 3 times so that you could just hear that. La da 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 ba da da da. Very catchy, very simple. The rhythm's a little tricky, so let's break down what's happening. But first, make the E minor the staircase shape, and we're going to start without the index finger down. So I want you to strum 4 to 2, and then pick your way down. So you string 4, string 3. Now when you get to string 2, this starts a triplet. So we have 1 and a triplet. So it's an 8th note triplet for beat 2. 1 and a triplet. So calling out what we're playing, strum 4, 3, 2, open A, and then put the index down to complete that E minor chord shape for the 2nd fret. 1 and a triplet. So get that stuck in your head. Strum 4, 3, triplet. Strum 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. Okay, let's give it a shot. Just that first half. Ready, slow. Strum 4, 3, triplet. Calling out the rhythms. 3, 4. Strum and a triplet. Okay, here's the easy change to the next chord. It goes to B7. Take this E minor staircase, move everything straight up 1 string. So 4, 3, 2 with the open A. So you're going to strum 4 down, and then we're going to go 4, 3, 2. So rhythmically wise, 3 and a 4. Put that together, the context. Pretty cool, right? 1 and a triplet, 3 and a 4. Okay, so the hard part is just going to be transitioning. So you're taking that E minor, and you're just going to move up in unison. So each finger moves up at the same time to grab the next chord. So E minor to B7. Okay, so you may want to just practice 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just practice getting that chord transition smooth before you put in all of the playing. But let's see if we can try that bar slow. Here we go. 3, 4, strum, 4, 3, triplet, strum, 4, 3, 2, again, strum, 4, 3, triplet, strum, 4, 3, 2, again, strum, 4, 3, triplet, strum, 4, 3, 2. So remember, it goes 3 times just like that. And then you go into the ending for this bridge. And the ending's going to sound like this. Maybe a little retardando at the end sounds really cool. So a very simple ending, but let's break down what happens for that first measure right here. This is measure 20. So we have an A minor 7. So remember the A minor that we made before. Just take that pinky, move it up a string, so it's on the 3rd fret of string 2. So for this one, again, 4 to 2. So we're going to strum 4 to 2, and then play string 4 and pluck 3 and 2. String 4, and then pluck 3 and 2. So that's the first part. So it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay? At this point, we're going to throw in a couple 16ths and then back to 8ths. So you have string 4, string 3, string 2, and then lift the pinky up and play string 2 again. So and a 4 and if we put it together, the context makes more sense. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and so strum 4, pluck 4, pluck and a 4 and let's give it a shot. 3, 4, strum 4, pluck 4, pluck and a 4 and keep the middle where it's at. Make the basic D minor. You're going to strum 4 to 2 and then pluck straight down. 4, 3, 2, 1. But rhythmically wise, we have 1 and a 2 and so 16ths again. We're seeing 1 and a 2 and so let's try that. 3, 4, strum 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the index where it's at. Drop those 2 down, make a basic G7, strum 4, 3, 2. And you can add a little retardando there if you want. Sounds really nice and natural. But together, that last bar, very beautiful. Let's try it. We'll keep the timing steady. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and I meant tempo steady. Timing tempo. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try those last 2 bars. So A minor 7, D minor to G7. Here we go. Ready, go. Strum 4, pluck 4, pluck 4, 3, 2, oh, strum 4, 3, 2, 1, strum 4, 3, 2. Okay, if we backtrack the entire bridge, and we'll go a little bit slower. 3, 4. Nice. So at this point, you're going to do a diez al coda, which just means that you're going to go back to the sign. So that's verse 2 and verse 3. So that's back to measure number 9. So we're on verse 3 right now. So you're going to play all of that verse, follow it up into the bridge. You're going to play the first 3 bars of that bridge, and then he threw in a little variation for those last 2 bars, that A minor 7 to D minor to G2. So this second bridge that you're playing has a slight little variation, and it sounds like this. So So almost the same thing. So if you want, you could play the same 2-bar ending that we just learned, or if you want to throw in a little variation, let's break it down and see what happens here. So he's actually starting out with that A minor 7, doing the 16th at the end of beat 1. So strum 4 3 2 4. So we have 1 and a 2 and. Okay. After that, it's pretty much the same as before, where you're just alternating between pluck 4 pluck and then an open E. So putting that bar together, strum 4 3 2 4 pluck 4 pluck open E. So counting out rhythms, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's give it a shot. 3, 4, strum 4 3 2 4 pluck 4 pluck open. Go back to the D minor. So strum 4 1 2. So all the eighths this time around. Strum 4 1 2. Then instead of G7, go to basic G. Strum 4 1 2. All eighths, but you can add a little retardando if you want. So strum 4 1 2. Strum 4 1 2. So putting those 2 bars together, we get 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice. And that takes us into the final verse. So verse number 4. Verse number 4 is pretty much identical to verse 2 and 3. I think the only difference is the second bar in it. So it's going to start with identical. When it goes to A minor, he plays a little bit more sparse in this bar. This is the 25th bar, or the second bar of verse 4. So we've got strum 2 and 3, 4 and. So let's break that one down. So it's going to start with strum 4 to 2, and then play string 4, string 3, lift the middle up, play the open G, and then drop that middle down to the second fret of string 3, play that note followed by the open E. So 1, 2 and 3, 4 and, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Pretty simple. Let's give it a shot. 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Now the next bar, same. Same. Fifth bar, same. 6th bar, same. And then here's where it changes. So this 7th and the 8th bar is going to be kind of like a little outro. So it's going to sound like this. We probably want to put a little bit more of a retardando, especially on that G bar. So something like this. Let's see if we can get the fill a little bit better. Okay, so just a gradual, nice slow down. But it's going to start with the higher voiced of C, and we're going to do all eighths for this. So we're going to go strum 3 2 3 1 3 2 3. So memorize that pattern. Strum 3 2 3 1 3 2 3. Let's give it a shot. Ready, go. Strum 3 2 3 1 3 2 3. Going to the G. And this, we're going to go pluck 4 2 4. Okay, so pluck 4 2 4. Okay, we're going to finish this one with 2 quarters. It's going to be the first and then the 4th string. So together, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So you see what I did right there? I just gradually slow it down. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, and then it's going to finish with the basic C. So together you have Let's give it a shot. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, C. So that's it. So that's the entire tune. And that encompasses 3 minutes in length. What's amazing is that it's not a ton of music. It's a pop songs tend to be repetitive, but what kind of makes it interesting is that every now and then you can throw in a little bit of variation, and that just adds a little bit of flavor. It's kind of like getting a vanilla ice cream and putting sprinkles on it. It just makes it that much cooler, but it's not changing the overall flavor, right? It's just adding a little bit of color, a little bit of spice to the mix. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. A beautiful one, a really great one for thinking about how you're playing the tune. So we want it to be a beautiful love tune. So it's a nice soft approach, maybe a little bit of rubato, some fermatas, some retardandos, just mixing a little bit of tempo changes and dynamics, and just the overall vibe. It's a great one for studying and working on playing with a softer, beautiful feel. And I think that's one of the big takeaways, outside of the fact that it's an absolutely gorgeous melody. But I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I do want to remind you, if you do want to get the tabs to print off, keep for your records, that was available at this link, or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, do a search for Can't Help Falling in Love. Don't forget that on-screen tab viewer is there as well, so that interactive tab player where you can highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.